Welcome. Let's take a look at finding the derivative of a function that is a composition of a trigonometric and an inverse trigonometric function. And then we will evaluate this at square root 3 over 2. So let's go ahead and get started. So f prime of x, t, is going to be, notice that the argument for our sine function is the inverse sine function. So the derivative of sine is cosine. So we're going to have cosine of arc cosine of t times the derivative with respect to t of arc cosine of t. Well, we need to use the information we have about the derivative of the arc cosine of t from our table. And so we're going to say that the derivative of f is cosine of arc cosine of t times, now the derivative of arc cosine is -1 over the square root of 1 minus the argument squared times the derivative of the argument. In this case, our argument is t. So our derivative function f prime of t is cosine of arc cosine of square root of t times, now the derivative of t is 1, so this is equal to 1, so we have -1 times 1, so -1 over the square root of 1 minus t squared. Now at this point, we can go ahead and evaluate our function. So we want f prime of square root 3 over 2. So that's going to be the cosine of the arc cosine of square root 3 over 2 times -1 over the square root of 1 minus square root 3 over 2 squared. Okay, so now let's see what we can do to simplify this up a bit. So first of all, let's talk about arc cosine of square root 3 over 2. This is equivalent to say the cosine of what angle is square root 3 over 2. Now, where x is the arc cosine of square root 3 over 2. So what we need to know is what angle creates a cosine of square root 3 over 2. And in calculus, we always work in radians. And the angle that creates a cosine of square root 3 over 2 is pi over 6. So in place of this arc cosine of square root 3 over 2, we're going to replace that with a pi over 6. Because when I simplify arc cosine of square root 3 over 2, that is equal to pi over 6. And also, under this square root where we have square root of 3 over 2 squared, if I square square root of 3, I get 3. If I square the denominator 2, I get 4. So we're going to replace that with 3/4. So here we go. So f prime of square root 3 over 2 is equal to cosine of pi over 6 times negative 1 over the square root of 1 minus 3/4. So f prime at square root 3 over 2. Now cosine of pi over 6 is root 3 over 2 times negative 1 over the square root of, well, 1 minus 3/4, that's 1/4. And the square root of 1/4 is, well, the square root of the numerator 1 is 1. The square root of the denominator 4 is 2. So we have negative 1 over 1/2 as our second factor. Continuing on, f prime at square root 3 over 2 equals, multiplying my numerators, I get negative square root of 3. Multiplying my denominators, I get 1. So f prime at square root 3 over 2 is equal to negative square root of 3. I hope you find this helpful.